So, you lost your hairline or you're losing your hairline and you'd like to know how to grow your edges back fast. The first and most important thing that you can do to help fix your traction alopecia, aka your balding or hair loss around your hairline, is to figure out what's causing it. Now, I know this sounds like a no brainer, but it's not. So if you answer yes to any of the things that pop up on the screen right now, all these tips will be able to help you. Have you done tight braids or tight twists? Long or really heavy braids, meaning, braids that go past your waist, or braids that are not necessarily too long, but you're using a lot of extra braiding hair, which makes the braids heavy. Weaves, wigs, specifically wigs that have a closure, or weaves that either have leave out or no leave out. Tight hats, bleach, any other chemicals like relaxer, a keratin treatment, hair dye, excessive heat styling, meaning you use heat on your hair more than once a week. It could be a curling iron, it could be a hot comb, could be a flat iron. Any other tight hairstyles like ponytails, buns, very sleek hairstyles. If you lay your edges every single day or multiple times a week, a tight scarf around your hairline, micro braids or micro twists, faux locks. If you answered yes to one or more of these, you most likely have traction alopecia that has been caused by this physical manipulation. Now, if you answered no, still look at how you wear your hair frequently, or you may need to visit a dermatologist or a doctor because you may actually have a medical condition. In addition to using some of these tips, you still need to find out what the main cause is to get to the root cause of the problem. So I'd highly suggest you speak to a doctor. Let's talk about how to reverse the damage. The first thing is look at tip one, and if you figured out what is causing it, immediately stop or at least heavily reduce the amount of times you do that. If you used to wear your hair in sleek buns every single day, maybe do it once a week. If you do your hair in micro braids all the time, unfortunately, you're going to have to stop at least for a couple months. The main problem with constantly repeating what's causing your hair loss on your hairline is you can actually cause irreversible damage, and that's when you start to get to extremely expensive measures of fixing your hair. The perfect way I like to explain traction alopecia is like waxing. So if you wax your armpits or your legs or any other part of your body, you notice that if you shave it, the hair is going to grow back the same. Some people think the hair grows back thicker, but usually it doesn't. It just feels that way because it's like sharp and spiky. If that worked, we would just all shave our heads. People with fine hair would shave their heads and then it would grow back thicker. So it doesn't work like that. However, when you wax, maybe the first time you wax, the hair is going to grow back the same. But when you repeatedly do it, the hair is going to start growing back thinner and softer and finer and even more sparse. And that is great for your legs and for your armpits. But when you do that to your hairline, you can start to cause now permanent damage where your follicles are all damaged. So even if the hair grows back, it starts to grow back extremely fine. You might be thinking, well, you've basically mentioned every single hairstyle I'd ever want to do. So what hairstyles am I going to do instead if I want my hairline to grow back? Now, the reason why a lot of people end up repeating these hairstyles is because you want to cover up the hair. So it's right in the front of your head. I understand that it can make you feel very insecure. And so your thought is, well, it looks so bad. Let me figure out a way to cover it up even more so I don't have to use it. Now, I understand that wearing looser hairstyles means that they might not stay in for long, but you have to figure out what you find more important. If you wear hats, maybe you want to start wearing satin line hats or at least hats that are not too tight. And don't wear them every day. One of my favorite very low friction hairstyles, especially for people who like wigs and braids and weaves, is to wear headband wigs. But you have to wear loose ones, and if they have combs, at least don't use those combs in the front of your head because they can also rip out your hair, especially because your hair is already in a very weak state. Then on your hairline, you can actually just wear a nice soft band like this, or you can wear something satin like this around your hairline, and it doesn't have to be too tight so that you're not adding excess friction to that area. When you're trying to heal your edges, it might seem like all your favorite hairstyles are not wearable anymore, but it's just because you're focusing on wanting to wear the hair exactly how you always wear it. You can see an up close of my hairline. It is very full, and this is what my hairline normally looks like. I don't use a lot of got to be gel. I don't use a lot of other hair gels because hair gels can also be extremely drying to the hair, and they also make your hair very brittle. So when your hair dries hard,
Have you ever in all your life had edges laid to this point?
like you don't even realize that it's breaking it. And when you use things like edge controls, they're very thick, and if you lay your edges every single day, you're probably like pulling out tiny bits of hair every single day because that's very heavy on your hair, even though it doesn't feel like it. Unfortunately, you're just gonna have to let your edges be free. Just brush them down with a nice soft brush like this boar bristle brush right here. And if you need to use a little bit of gel sometimes, maybe you can use just something like an eco styler type of very mild gel. You also have to understand that I don't think most people expect you to have extremely sleek edges, especially if the rest of the texture of your hair doesn't match. Like, I don't think my edges look crazy. I don't think my edges look untidy. I think my hairline matches the rest of my hair. It doesn't look ridiculous. So you're just gonna have to get used to wearing your edges in a natural as possible state. This next thing is something that is extremely highly overlooked for your hairline, and I think this is one of the first things that can absolutely help your hairline and give you consistent results. Focusing on your diet and then supplementing where you don't think your diet meets your needs. I always think that going for your diet first is way more important than rushing to supplements. People seem to rush for supplements first instead of the other way around. So, the food you need to focus on is protein, just a perfect balance of protein, fat, and carbs. And in the diet, water is included as well because when you have a lot of hydration, it helps for the nutrients to be transported all over your body, including all the vital nutrients for your hair. So, go for things like salmon, berries, citrus fruits, meats, chicken, tofu, beans. It doesn't matter what kind of diet you're on. However, if you have recently gone on a specific kind of diet, whatever it is, that could actually contribute to your hair loss, including on your hairline, because that's the most delicate and finest part of most people's hair. So if you recently went vegan or keto or anything like that, you may be experiencing a temporary situation of hair loss on your hairline or even weight loss. Things like Ozempic can actually cause hair loss. Now, for supplements, I am not a nutritionist or a dermatologist, but I've done a lot of research, and this is what I found are the best supplements that I would recommend and that I personally take as well. So, a multivitamin is always great. I always have a multivitamin because I am a picky eater, and while I do eat a pretty good balanced diet, I know that there's certain things that I just don't always have in my diet. A hair, skin, and nails vitamin is also amazing. Ones that contain collagen and biotin are really good. However, you don't need to reach for the ones that have 5,000 to 10,000 mcgs of biotin because most of us are not actually deficient in biotin. So all you need is a little extra if you may be mildly deficient. If you're not deficient at all, it actually won't make a difference. And if you are deficient, you most likely don't need 10,000 mcgs because that's just way too much. So you actually just pee it out and it's literally just a waste of money. So go for something that has like maybe 1 to 2,000 mcgs of biotin, and that should be enough. Vitamin D3 is one that I highly recommend as well, and it made a massive difference for me. I started taking it because I knew I wasn't getting enough exposure to the sun because I work from home, and before that, I worked in an office, so I'm usually indoors. But then I realized that it was really helping my hair growth, and when I did research, I discovered that vitamin D3 is actually a big reason for hair loss, especially on your hairline and all over your head at once, which can even mimic androgenetic or early female or male pattern baldness because you're deficient in vitamin D3. And I've actually seen a lot of recommendations to take vitamin D3 in combination with vitamin K. K2, I believe, to help the absorption of the vitamin D. Magnesium is extremely helpful as well because it doesn't directly help you fix your hair loss. However, it really helps you relax and stay calm and reduce stress. And stress is a major contributor for hair loss. So if you're less stressed, you can retain more hair growth and at least get your hairs back into the hair growth phase. And then there's lots of other supplements like ashwagandha and a lot of things that are out there. So My recommendation would be to find some kind of vitamin that has a combination of a lot of these together so you don't have to be taking like 10 different supplements a day. I just don't think that's necessary. Number five is a tip that I think is becoming a little bit more popular, especially on TikTok. And for some reason, people just ignore this. And I think the main reason is a lot of people have an aversion to medication. We always want to find the most natural way. But if you're starting to experience severe hair loss on your hairline, I think this is one that you should really look into. And this is using Minoxidil, which is usually sold under the brand name Rogaine. And if you are a woman, I highly suggest you get the men's pack because it's just like pink tax. There's no difference, but you get more with the men's. And I'm pretty sure even the dosage is higher. Minoxidil is extremely effective, but the reason why I think a lot of people also don't like using it is because while it does yield amazing results, it's one of those products that keeps your hair in a state of growth artificially, meaning if you stop using it, you will most likely shed a lot or most of the hair that you have grown back using the minoxidil, and it can be pretty expensive. So basically, if you start using it, you can't stop. But again, the results are very fast. But the other side effects are sometimes people can get a little bit of acne in the area where it's applied. It can make you itch, or if it drips down onto your face, it can make you grow maybe thicker hair in places where you would not like hair. It can even alter your hair texture a little bit, but I really think it's one of those things that's worth a try, and then you can see where you want to go from there. The next thing that has little to no side effects but has also been proven to be very effective and I think is a more recent treatment is LED light therapy. Now, I'm pretty sure you can go and have this done at a salon or at a dermatologist's office, but it is something that is extremely easy to do yourself and has very little to no side effects. Now, I recently just started using LED light therapy and I can't give you results yet, but I've already started seeing positive changes. But I can't say yet because I've only been using it for about a week. This is actually an LED head cap that was gifted to me kindly by Current Body. This is not sponsored, they just gifted it to me. It's an LED light hat, and there's other forms of LED light therapy that you can buy, but I like this one because it covers your entire head from the nape of your head to the front of your edges. So if you're interested, I will link it in the description box below, as well as every other product that you can purchase, like Minoxidil, in the description box below. And just note that some of them may be affiliate links. So if you don't want to support this channel, you can just try and Google the company and find the product there. My favorite thing about it is that the LED light therapy actually penetrates into your follicles and it stimulates the mitochondria in your cell, which will actually give your hair more energy to grow, and it will actually extend the anagen phase of your hair growth, which means your hair growth phase. So it can allow more of those hair to grow in thicker and healthier, and it's definitely worth a try. These devices don't really come cheap, but if you've already gone to a really far situation, you may have started to go to the expensive side of treatments. Now, if your hairline looks like this, you may need something way more evasive like PRP, which is platelet rich plasma. And you would have to go to a doctor's office to do this. This is where they basically get your blood and then they spin it and get the nutrients and re inject them back into your scalp. Sometimes they try this with steroids as well. And a more mild and way cheaper version that you can do at home, but is not very recommended by dermatologists, is derma rolling. A lot of people have seen a lot of benefits from derma rolling, but the issue is you have to be very sanitary and you have to be able to sanitize your tools very well, specifically because it's basically like tiny needles making tiny holes in your scalp and rolling that over. And so, if it's dirty and you roll dirt into your scalp, you can start to get acne and just other infections. But if you are sure that you can sterilize your tools very well, derma rolling is extremely beneficial and a lot of people have seen results with it. However, just like the LED light therapy, it usually works best in conjunction with other things like minoxidil or some hair growth oils or scalp massages just to add additional stimulation. And if you do decide to go the route of PRP, it is very expensive. It can be anywhere from like $1,000 all the way to like $2,000 to $5,000, and it's usually pretty expensive because it doesn't help your hair in one go. You probably have to go to 5 or 6 treatments. Now, if your hair looks more like this, you probably have severe scarring, which means that your follicles are completely damaged and they are scarred over, meaning the follicle is completely dead and hair can never grow out of there again. One of your only options would be getting a hair transplant. This is where they physically get hairs like from the back of your head, transplant them in the front of your head. And this is the most expensive treatment, but it's also the most effective treatment. And people of all hair types have extremely great results. And maybe similar to minoxidil, you may need to continuously like apply a serum or an oil to your scalp to maintain it, but you will get the fastest results and they will be long lasting. This can cost anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 if you're doing this in the USA. However, I've been seeing a lot of people from all over the world flying to Turkey to get this procedure done because a lot of people see amazing results and it only costs between 1,500 to $4,000 compared to $5,000 to $10,000 if you're doing it in the USA. Just ensure that if you do any research, well, you should be doing any research, just make sure that whatever doctor you want to go to and wherever they are, that they have done hair that is similar to your own hair type and texture. Now, this last remedy is one of the easiest and it's also very affordable and it's one of my favorites as well, and I highly recommend it. This is using rosemary oil. Now, rosemary oil is extremely effective at hair growth and has actually been compared to minoxidil, and that's why a lot of people who don't want any side effects from minoxidil prefer trying rosemary oil at least first. But it is an essential oil, so you have to make sure that it is diluted into a carrier oil. You can buy rosemary oil or an oil mix when you get something like the Mayel Organics Rosemary Mint, but my favorite way is to actually make it myself, and I have a video right here all about how you can make your own rosemary oil. And then here I have a video on how you can make a rosemary oil mix that's mixed with castor oil. It's pretty thick, so I'd only advise you to use this oil on your hairline and not on your entire scalp. So check those videos out and hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more videos like this from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!